You are listening to the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. The Glebe Central Pub is your one-stop home for everything you need in a neighborhood pub. It's your spot in the heart of the Glebe. Great people, great food, and tasty drinks. Visit them at 779 Bank Street and tell them Locked On Senators sent you. We got some of the fellas already talking about getting in there for a watch party for the Ottawa Senators. And boy, was this a fun one we've got to recap tonight. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Pillar, and we have Lalim's Martian running. He's doing the Forrest Gump. He's on his way home, and we'll bring him in as soon as possible. 3-2 the final score. The Ottawa Senators beating the Montreal Canadiens. Pilsy, dare I say never in doubt?
Nah, it's tough, but I mean, I felt pretty good about it. When you get up to a 3-0 lead, you feel pretty good. The Sens certainly allowed the Habs to make it interesting, as this was a game of many momentum swings. I mean, it was like that rocking ship ride at Canada's Wonderland. It's like, okay, all the way here, and finally, the Ottawa Senators were able to stop that when the game ended. I mean, this is what you want to see when you have the Habs up against the Ottawa Senators. It doesn't matter who's injured, who's not, who's playing. It's always good, entertaining games. And 3 is a streak. Like everybody's saying in the chat, these Senators are going streaking.
3 is a streak, but 3 also seems to be the worst lead in hockey. Before we get to that, though, I think the big story is that third period. How did they allow it to become 3-1? Sure, it's anything can happen. But the momentum that Montreal picked up, it just seemed like it carried them the rest of the game.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get Martians on the streets, boots on the ground report about this, but they were showing all those Habs fans in the crowd, and it looked insane. Like, you could feel the tension in that building with how wild the Habs fans were going, and the momentum was fully in their favor. It's just too little too late here as the Ottawa Senators hang on and they get the much needed win here. My God, that feels good.
It certainly does. And now the Ottawa Senators, for the first time since October 29th, when Magnus Hellberg was in goal for the Ottawa Senators, they've won 3 games in a row. I know that was their 4th straight win, but they haven't won 3 in a row since until right now. Back-to-back, they won 2 and then let that slide off. So now they pick it up. We've got plenty of individual efforts we need to highlight. But can we talk about that first period? Like, what happened? They didn't get their first shot until 13 minutes into the game. The Ottawa Senators are talking.
It was absolutely brutal. I mean, the fact that the Montreal Canadiens didn't get a goal to allow that momentum to fully go in their favor was very lucky. Actually, no, it wasn't lucky. It was helped by Cam Talbot playing amazing to start this game off. I mean, right off the top, 2 big saves for Talbot, and the Sens look like they're sleeping early. So they're very lucky that they got out of this first period without any damage. My God.
What was the most dangerous chance for you?
It's got to be one of those right at the start of the game. I mean, Evans gets a breakaway, and it's Jake Evans, so he's not going to do too much, but he gets a good shot off. And then right after, Talbot 2-on-1 and Caulfield with the wrister. Like, this is like 2 minutes in, I think, to both of these chances. So for Talbot, not only to get the first one, but to get the second one, that was huge, because we saw it, the Habs scored 1 goal, and all of a sudden things changed real quick.
Yeah, certainly. And in that first period, I thought Cam Talbot's rebound control was phenomenal, too.
He's so good with that, yeah.
And he just looks calm. The first whistle didn't go until 4:07 into the game. And at that point, the shots were 5-0 Montreal. And 3 of them I would have considered a high danger chance. Josh Anderson also came down the right wing and fired a missile that Talbot got a piece of. But then Ottawa takes the first penalty. No surprise, like they're already chasing the play. There are a few big hits. I guess Shabbat kind of got his hands up, but when Caulfield's 5-5, it's kind of hard not to. Shots on goal 10 minutes in were 6-0. Actually, let's jump right ahead to my favorite part of the game, and this is where we had to get our licks in. We said don't pin the tail on the donkey, but we, from the comfort of our living room, we can do just that. Arbor Jacki decides to put Mark Kastelik in a headlock for whatever reason, a 4th line shift for the Ottawa Senators, where they didn't have any sustained pressure. It was just kind of on a chip and chase. And he does that, gets a penalty. The Habs are leading 8-1 on the shot clock at that point. And next thing I know, I look up, the score is 2-0 Ottawa, and the shots were 15-10. So talk about a way to kill momentum of a great period for the Habs. Well, you just did that with your rookie, who happens to be the second most minor penalized player in the National Hockey League this season.
Yeah, Ross, like you mentioned, we talked about this as a main focus for this game. Arbor Jack guy's going to go out there and he's going to run around, but can he keep it disciplined? And he doesn't. That's a bonehead penalty that he's going to hear about from Martin St. Louis. I'm sure of it, because I would say that's a TSN turning point of the game, because from that moment on, the Habs lost the momentum. The Sens go on that massive scoring tear where they get 3 unanswered goals, and it ends up being a 3-2 game. Like, that essentially cooks it. So the fact that the Ottawa Senators were able to just be like, yeah, let him have his licks after the whistle on our fourth line center. That's fine. We got the 6th best power play in the entire league. Thank you very much.
And they made them pay. Ottawa scored 2 goals on the power play, but before, it was Shane Pinto who opened the scoring. And hey, before we move on though, that's smart by Kaslik to not retaliate. It would be easy for him to be like, hey,
That's
no,
let's go.
Yep. So good on him. Buck's thinking that the goggles are going to go to Mark Kaslik. Let's actually discuss that before we break down the game, because I'm putting up the poll right now. Who has the goggles right now?
Well, Eric, through his donation, thank you, Eric, says, Pilsy, you can't vote for Cat to get the goggles again. So he has them? Is that what you're saying, Eric?
Yes, he does. He does.
So I wouldn't have gone Cat anyways. I mean, this is kind of, spoiler alert, hat tipping to my Sen Central standout, but I think you got to give it to Talbot.
Oh, for a second, I thought you were saying to your locked on player. No offense, like Lucchini was fine, but he certainly wasn't noticeable in this game.
No, come on now. This is a serious professional podcast we have here, Ross. Okay. I wouldn't joke around like that.
We haven't said that in a while. Okay, I've got Cam Talbot as an option, but is it not just like Talbot and DeBrincat just snapping it back and forth? I feel like they've both had it multiple times.
Yeah, for real. Well, I feel like Batherson, you could give it to him because, man, speaking of Batherson and DeBrincat, I've got some stats here on their point streaks, Ross. Batherson, 9 points in 6-game point streak, and DeBrincat, 10 points in a 7-game point streak. So remember when our biggest segment topic a little while ago was, what are we going to do to get that second line going? Well, ever since then, they've been the hottest line. Now Tim Stützle out. That doesn't help Claude Giroux and Brady Tkachuk, but they have really stepped it up lately. And what's happened? The W's have come along with it.
Yeah, so Batherson just had the goggles, but I'm putting him as an option, guys. I'm putting Cam Talbot and Drake Batherson. Who else should get options? And the first 2 I see are going to be the correct answers for the poll. Like, hey, yes, of course I got hype when Shane Pinto shut down the Go Habs Go. Anytime I'm able to use that photo where Shane Pinto just so happens to be sticking his tongue out and the Sportsnet broadcast has it so he's in one and Caulfield's in the other, it's too perfect. Now, Habs fans say I probably overuse it, but if there's a reason for me to use it in a Sens Habs game, you know I'm going to take the opportunity.
You're going to use it, yeah.
It would just absolutely make no sense if I wouldn't.
Yeah, you gotta get those in when you can, Ross. I'll definitely give you that.
Pinto and Brady are the two answers. So basically, the goal scorers in this game and Cam Talbot. I think that's fair.
I like it.
Zaitsev. How about that block after Montreal made it 3-1, and I know they got it to 3-2, but right after that, it was when Ottawa made it 2-0, and then they started pressing, and then Nikita Zaitsev just makes a huge block. So this guy, I don't know what he ate in Belleville, but he looks like a completely different player.
Probably a couple number 6 Wendy combos, just like us, eh?
Yes, sir.
That's the Belleville special.
Or a stop at what's the name of the bar that we'd spend some time at?
Shoeless Joe's.
Shoeless Joe's. Thank you.
But yeah, like through and through, there's so many guys that I thought played really well in this game, and the Ottawa Senators, despite all the injuries, despite having guys like Rourke Chartier, Jake Lucchini playing minutes on this lineup, they end up putting out a great performance at home. It's so nice winning those games at home, and I can't wait to get Martian's take on this because he's told us, Ross, all right, I'm giving it to Habs fans. We're up 3-0. And then his next message was, I am now receiving it from Habs fans as 3-2 here. So the back and forth between the crowd and the fans, as we know, we've been to a couple of those matchups, it's all time. Like it's what you live for as a Sens fan. You want to be able to go back at Habs fans, and hey, they can try to come back, but ultimately it's a 3-2 Sens win.
It's a 3-2 Sens win, and now that's back-to-back victories on home ice. And the stat I brought up earlier today, Sens don't allow 3 goals and win the game. Like that's here. Now the gold standard is 2 goals or less. And with Cam Talbot playing the way he did tonight, man, they had many opportunities to be down in this game early. 10 shots on goal in the first period, 12 in the third, and a minuscule 3 in the second. So that, to me, is equally impressive that Talbot's able to stay sharp and then make the big saves and not allow the rebounds late in this game. And I was getting nervous. Ottawa lost 2 late faceoffs in their own zone, but both times Cam Talbot, my favorite save late was the one on Dvorak from the same spot that he beat him in the third period. So for him to do that, I absolutely loved it. So good on the Ottawa Senators. Let's run through the game summary as we wait for Levitan Martian to log in. I just sent him the link, so it won't be long before we get the Martian on board. Scoring open in the second period, Shane Pinto, 10th goal of the season, second among all rookies in the National Hockey League. Primary assist to Alex DeBrincat, his 16th of the season, and that extends DeBrincat's point streak to 7. Nikita Zaitsev with a secondary assist. Cha-ching. Love that. Minute 28 seconds into the second period. And Pilsy, what I love about that goal too is the stick-to-itiveness from Shane Pinto, because he missed 2 golden opportunities right before he got that rush.
Yeah, exactly. So you love to see that from Shane Pinto and DeBrincat with the setup. I mean, this guy comes over as a 40-plus goal scorer, and he has 3 assists in this game. This guy, did the Ottawa Senators turn him into a playmaker? Like, this is wild.
It's pretty wild because the Sens scored 3 goals in a span of just under 7 minutes in the second period, and Alex DeBrincat had 1, 2, 3. Actually, wait. I have this here. Ready? Alex DeBrincat had
number 1, number 2, and number 3.
Primary.
It's like the Levitan Martian is here with us.
That is the perfect way to bring in at Levitan Martian as we continue through the story. But first, boots on the ground report, Martian. How was your experience down at the Canadian Tire Center on this wonderful Wednesday evening?
Gentlemen, that was a riot down there in my section with all the Habs fans that were in the building tonight. I'm going to tell you what, they dominated us. I'm pretty sure it was 70% Habs fans. My section was probably more like, I think 90% Habs fans. I had maybe 5 or 6. I had 5 or 6 other people in my section who are Sens fans. But let me tell you what, for the first 2 periods, especially in that second period, Smug Martian was just standing in the middle of my section and just riding every single Habs fan in sight. They wanted my head on a spike, boys. And let me tell you, they almost got me. They almost had me, right? And I was getting a little nervous in that third period when those 2 goals happened. And they started looking like they were going to claw back, and a couple power plays, and they were looking a little dangerous. But their second power play unit is so useless on the Habs that I wasn't too worried once those guys got out there. But yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. I had guys coming from. I was in 319. I had guys coming over from 119. I had guys coming over from 120. I had guys coming over from 117, and they were coming to me and pointing at me and giving me a hard time, only because I was the guy, giving them the gears, right? But
they got your number, When you were cheering, they made sure they got the number.
As I'm running out of the CTC, I am just giving it to everyone in sight. I'm just like, hey, thanks for coming out. Thanks for paying for DeBrincat's extension. Let's go.
Yes, absolutely love that. Okay, I need your view because you posted it, man. You had an elite vantage point of the Shane Pinto goal. Walk me through that play.
I had an elite vantage point for all 3 Ottawa Senators goal. Very lucky for me being in the end where they were shooting in the second period. But that Shane Pinto release, boys, on his stick, off his stick immediately, and he just rifles that thing past Montembeault. That was so much fun. Yeah, he's a shooter, guys. Like that 10th goal of the season for him, that's unbelievable right now. So he's buzzing. Hopefully he can keep the goal scoring going. I'm buzzing too right now. I'm feeling good.
Oh yeah, that's awesome, buddy.
The boys kept it going. If you had a good view, then you must have seen that Drake Batherson went between his legs to get that in the net on the second goal. Assists on that one.
In front of us.
Go to Alex DeBrincat and Brady Tkachuk.
Yeah, right in front of me yet again, and that was a bit of a scramble jam job there by Drake, but like that puck kind of was wiggling around in that crease, and he did the old Kachuk special, we want to call it, with Matthew and Brady, always kind of trying that between the legs action there. It was really nice. So I mean, it was a bit of a garbage goal, but he made it nice by going through the legs, right?
Yeah, that's the silkiest garbage goal you'll ever find. Some good old clean recycling by Drake.
Yeah, and the third one that happened too. I was obviously sitting next to a couple of Habs fans. They were probably the tamest Habs fans in the section. Actually, they were nice guys. And I looked at them when the power play came, and I said, "It's about to be 3-0." And like not even 20 seconds real time, not even playing time later, like there's a goal, and I'm just like, sorry.
So good.
It's good stuff.
What an absolute
It's
treat
good.
to watch. What a treat to watch, Nate. Were
Yeah,
you
what a
worried
treat.
after the first period, after how one-sided that first period was?
About the first 10 minutes of the first period, I think the Sens had 0 shots on goal in that first 10 minutes of that first period.
12 and a half minutes.
I mean, it was a really nice like road start for the Habs. And I'm not going to lie, a little bit like, okay, the Sens need to wake up. They need to change the pace. They need to get a little momentum here because they had absolutely none. But yeah, no, they turned it around. It was just fine. But yes, I was a little bit worried about the way things were looking. At that time, especially with all the injuries the Sens have. I'm like, well, like who's going to step up here for the boys? So it was nice to see.
So we already discussed what the TSN turning point was. What do you think got the momentum going in Ottawa's direction?
Is there a particular moment that you think turned the tide?
Yeah.
What was it? Just remind me. I'll just remind me. It was electric in there.
It was also at the far end for him. So I mean, this is something. I mean, you would have known because it ultimately ended up a penalty. You explain it, Billsy, because I feel like I'm just ragging on the kid now, although he probably deserves it.
I mean, it was our good old friend Wi-Fi. He got his router a little crossed there with Casty. After the whistle, just extra rough stuff. You don't need to do it. He rips Casty's helmet off, has him in a headlock. Ref, boom, that's 2-minute penalty. That's what Ross and I were talking about. This kid's going to be a donkey out there. Just don't retaliate. Take the 2 minutes when you have the 6th best power play in the league and you're clicking like that. And that's what the Sens, like, they don't score on that power play. But ever since that penalty, the Ottawa Senators really got momentum. And I think Ross and I kind of feel like that was the TSN turning point because the Habs, like you mentioned, Martian, you saw it. They were dominating the start of that game.
Yeah, shots were 8-1. That penalty.
That's a really good call out. Actually, I was gonna say that it was the Sens getting power plays that was the momentum turner. So I guess we're in a way on the same page. But yeah, like I mean, Casty and him have fought before, so they know if they're gonna go, they will go. But that wasn't the time for Casty. He made the right choice there. I think just letting that one slide, and obviously it ended up. You guys are right, turning the momentum of the game completely.
And the momentum carried the Senators to a 3-2 victory. Head coach DJ Smith recording his 94th career win as Sens head coach, moving into a tie with Guy Boucher for 5th in franchise history. And he's 1 away from Corey Clouston. So he's going to jump from 6th to 4th after the Sens get 2 more wins in this season. So that's a nice little stat, nice little pat on the back for DJ Smith.
That's crazy. Corey Clouston's that far up. Like that guy seems like a blip on the radar of the Ottawa Senators franchise history.
100%. After a quick word, we're going to get back to how this game even fell from a 3-0 lead into a 1-goal, ultimately win for the Ottawa Senators. Then get to our Sens Central standouts. And of course, we're going to end off and take your questions in the chat with the Postcast after dark. Sens win 3-2 over the Montreal Canadiens. Pilsy, and the Postcast is brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub. You want to tell them why the Glebe Central Pub is the best place not only to go before the game, but Pilsy, the shuttle to and from the CTC is elite.
So good. Yes, the Postcast is presented by the Glebe Central Pub. We love our friends over there. It's your neighborhood pub in the heart of Glebe. The food's great. The people's great. They got nice cold beers. Head to 779 Bank Street. Know the Locked On Senators podcast sent you. We want them to know that Sens fans are loving it there. And if you guys are there right now in the Postcast, let us know in the chat. Nick Spence is saying the fish and chips at Glebe Central Pub are must. I love me a good fish and chips. So when you have the shuttle there and you can pre-drink at the Glebe Central Pub, get a nice meal in so you're not going on an empty stomach and paying $20 for a slice of pizza at the CTC. keep it going with the Molsons at the CTC, then take the shuttle back and celebrate the W over the Montreal Canadiens with friends at Glebe Central Pub. Guys, check it out.
Yes, we will check it out. Pills, you're getting a mic check right now. Again, I don't know what's going on, but we will tell you that Glebe Central.
Sounded good to me. Sounded good to me.
Right. Sounded like a night out at the Glebe Central Pub. That good?
Not that much
good. Better.
Hey, that's right at the Glebe Central Pub. We're going to be at the Glebe Central Pub next time we're in Ottawa. We're going to make sure to be there. We'll let everyone know as well. Maybe a watch party. Why not? But what a night for the Ottawa Senators, and an always a good night to go to the Glebe Central Pub. Make sure you go to glebecentralpub.com and go check out when the shuttles come for their Ottawa Senators ones all around the holidays. And that's when you want to be festive. You want to have a good time. You want to have a few drinks. Go to the Glebe Central Pub, take the shuttle, and do not worry about how you're going to get home safely. Be responsible. Go to the Glebe Central Pub and have a few responsible beverages. Always a good time at the Glebe Central Pub. We also want to quickly mention that every Wednesday's episode is brought to you by Bet Online. Bet Online is the number one sportsbook of the Locked On Podcast Network, and for good reason too. Beauty about Bet Online, and I wonder if this is going to just completely mush Martian. No, you can see it. It's like you're the guy in Home Improvement who's always just lurking over top of the fence. An old timers reference. Hey, there's some people in the chat like Home Improvement. What are you talking about? Tim the Toolman Taylor. Who is that? Well, Tim the Toolman Taylor. Whenever his wife would leave him alone, he'd be going to betonline.net. He'd be going figuring out the latest odds, news, player performance props, all of it right now at betonline.net. I'm going to be riding with France in the World Cup final. Martian, are you France or Argentina?
I'm Argentina. I won a little money on them already going through this whole action here with the betonline.ag. So I'm riding the Messi train here. I love the sport of soccer, and I do watch the World Cup, but I'm an Argentina guy.
Okay, well, heidi ho, neighbors. Go to betonline.net. It's where the game starts. And now here we go with some Sen Central standouts. But before we get to that, how did this game fall apart? All that's coming up. You're listening to the Locked On Senators Postcast. This was just an excuse. I wanted to play some tunes. The vibes are hot.
Get the boys riled up.
Oh, that's so nice. Eric wants to know who's winning the Golden Boot. I got a kick out of that question, but this is the Ottawa Senators Postcast. And the Sens have won 3 straight. How are ya? I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Pillar. Make sure you're following at Aleem's Martian online because you never know what kind of shenanigans the Martian is going to get up to. This isn't copyright. I know I can play this. Except, geez, you are a loud son of a gun. We are going to pull up. This is Martian is infamous for making sure everyone knows the best way to leave the CTC and make it home on time is to
just run.
So we've got live quality imaging right here of the fellas running through the parking lot.
See that guy sprinting? I'm still out of breath.
I absolutely love it. I can honestly watch this the entire night. And then Buddy coming in to your right is absolutely unreal. Look at this guy. They're flying.
Eh? Those guys were moving. Yeah. I think I have a funny feeling they knew what was going on there and they just turned the jets on just for that. But I mean, I could have turned it on too, but I didn't need to. I was already ahead of the pack,
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely love that. So how did this game even get close? We talked about the first 2 goals. I guess Brady Tkachuk, what else? Him scoring against the Montreal Canadiens, his 13th of the year. DeBrincat and Drake Batherson with the assist. But after the second period, I was feeling good. Okay, I'm thinking there's no chance in hell this is even a close game. But sure enough, the Habs got back into it. Pilsy, what'd you see on that Kirby Dach goal at the start of the third? I should say midway.
I mean, that was a pretty good play by the Montreal Canadiens. You got to give it to them there. It's essentially a 6-on-5 power play, as that is it's a delayed penalty for the Ottawa Senators, and they do a good job cycling the puck. They're buzzing, and Suzuki's in the corner. That backhand sauce to Dvorak for the one-timer. You got to give stick taps to the nice pass, and then Dvorak puts it top shelf. That's just a good play. You're going to get beat there. It's a delayed penalty for quite a while. It seemed like almost a full minute. So the Ottawa Senators at that point, things are looking a little nervous, and I'm sure the Habs fans were going absolutely bonkers over there, eh, Martian?
Oh yeah, that was right about the time where they just wanted me to hear it, right? And I was just sitting there smiling. But yeah, like the Habs fans were going bananas, and they were. I swear to God, their crowd was drawing penalties for them, and those even up calls. Frig, who got that penalty right in the third period, like early in the third, and it was a nothing hooking call. Anyways, it was a complete garbage call. Austin Watson gets that penalty, and then maybe 5 minutes later, playing time wise, the Sens, someone gets absolutely just torn down in the neutral zone, and there's no call. And it's like, what the heck's going on here? What building are we in? And we know what just happened. I know there was a lot of talk in Leafs land in the game that they recently had where, I mean, they're against Calgary over the weekend on Hockey Night in Canada, where they're not getting any calls being called against them. And Daryl Sutter had his comments about that. But man, like I felt like I was in the Bell Center or something. Like I don't understand why the referees were so willing to give these weak call power plays to the Habs. It was a soft call. Sorry, I don't know if I went off track.
All right, I unplugged the mic here. How we sounded?
Sounds good. Like some people think you're great. Some people think
I know that's the frustrating thing. It seems fine to me and some people, but other people it's not. But anyways, I'm just happy the Sens have a win here, microphone or not. I'm vibing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're not tech guys, but we should figure it out. I mean, we spent way too much money on this Roadcaster for it not to sound perfect. Okay, we're not trying to come in here and have things sound not great, but at the same time, I'm not an expert.
So you're an expert?
No, I'm not. I'm not an expert at all. But we're just trying to do our best right here. Everyone's loving the mic situation now. Everything's all good. 261 in the chat. We absolutely appreciate that. After a rivalry game, there is something to be said about the Montreal games, about the Toronto games. Just gets the heartbeat going a little bit faster. Must be because everyone has a Leafs fan friend or a Habs fan friend in their life. So bragging rights are on the line. And there's a little more on the line tonight at Bet Online, but we obviously got the good there. So Montreal gets one, then they get a second one real quick, Pilsy. Like, what'd you see on the second one?
The second goal?
For Montreal, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the one I was breaking down. So maybe my mic really was that awful. That's the one I was talking about where Dak gets it out. It's a nice bumper play.
Absolutely. And we talked about how Cam Talbot
had Suzuki, to Dvorak.
And he made a great adjustment later on in the game in the final 2 minutes when Dvorak had a same opportunity on the doorstep. Huge save by Cam Talbot. Martian, you were pretty close to ice level. What'd you see from Cam Talbot?
Dude, Cam Talbot made so many game-saving saves tonight. It was crazy. So many like quick one-timers, and you guys were just talking about the bumper play. Like there was a few of those where it was like he really bailed out the defense, where like there was someone wide open. They had a great look, and he comes across, and everything just seems to hit him in the chest. And that's just it's a testament to being like a really good positioning. Oh, hey, who's coming in here with this chat? That's exactly what I'm talking about there. The properly positioning podcast, Pilsy. But when you're talking about Cam Talbot, the the positioning for him was unbelievable tonight too, and he was looking pretty quick side to side, which is I think something about Talbot that I think people, when they look at his goaltending, they critique is his lateral movement. But tonight it didn't seem to be a big issue. He was getting across and he was making saves with his chest, which is great for rebound and control as well, which was another thing that I thought he did really well tonight. For me, he's the first star tonight, being on ice level and especially in that third period. He and even in the first period too, guys, like when the Habs were really pouring it on early, he made a few really key saves that would have changed the game if he would have let those in. So I thought Cam Talbot had a really special night today, and honestly, going forward, he's the guy. He's the guy who's getting wins, and he's the starting goaltender now on this team.
He's
right?
earned the 1A position for sure.
100%. Yeah.
I
love Forsey.
920 save percentage for Cam Talbot tonight. 23 saves on 25 shots, and it's not only that. It's the whole Cam Talbot experience since he's been here. He's had 3 absolute stinkers. absolute stinkers. The one in Vegas and the one where he let in 5 goals on 14 shots. Where was that?
I think that was San Jose,
that was
or at least
LA.
against San Jose.
LA.
Oh, Horsey had the bad LA or San Jose game. Yeah,
exactly. So Cam Talbot, outside of those 3 awful games, the San Jose one he allowed 3 on 7, LA 5 on 14, and then Vancouver 5 on 27. Unfortunately, that was in front of Ryan Reynolds. But other than that, he's had a .912 save percentage or better in all 12 starts. That's awesome. And that's just a sign of a consistent goalie, a veteran, and a guy who knows that when the chips are down, he's got to make the big saves. Absolutely love it. So, Martian, why don't we let you as the guest, as the boots on the ground? You just took Cam Talbot then to lead off our Send Central standouts, yeah?
Yeah, I don't even think I need to elaborate really much further than he made a few really key saves tonight, and he did his job. He did a really great job. I think he did get lucky a few times for sure. Like there was a crossbar that I think it was Cole Caulfield hit the crossbar and the puck went 60 feet straight up. It was like this close to going in. There was a couple posts tonight where, you gotta be lucky to be good though. I've said this before, right? So Cam Talbot, really, really, really strong game tonight. I loved it.
Very, very strong. And also strong is what I'll give my first Send Central standout to. And am I going to get permission to give it to a group here, fellas? I'd like to give it to a group.
Nah. Unless it's actually, you know what, Ross? It's your show, baby.
Sure.
You do you.
It's a win. Can I give it to the goddamn power play? No, this power play is automatic. When's the last time the special teams group? Dude, their power play is the best in the league right now. It's top 5.
They're buzzing.
It's unbelievable to watch. They're 6th in the National Hockey League in power play percentage on the year. And that's including a month that they won 4 games out of 15.
I think if you look at the last 9 games they've played, they're around 50%, or they're just below, I think.
Got to be close, yeah.
With them being like 40% last game, and then they go, what did they go tonight? 2 for 3 tonight?
They went no, they had way
2 for 7.
Oh, yeah. 2 for 7. Holy, yeah, they had. I guess they were even up late in the game. Where was I?
Yeah, they were. Well, and even so much because Montreal's second goal was on a delayed penalty, so that doesn't even count as a power play. But they had control of the puck with the goalie pulled for quite some time. So since U.S. Thanksgiving, the Senators' power play is clicking at 34.8%. Like. Wow. We're used to the last 5 years. Like, what do you think? Let's see. What do you think the Sens' combined power play percentage is, not including this year? So starting last year from when DJ Smith took over, let's say, at the start of 2019.
I'm going to say 22%.
Okay. 22? I don't think it was that high. I'm going 17.3.
16.6. 27th in the National Hockey League.
It was bad, Martian. Dude, Martian, Gaudette and Tierney were the top finishers on the power play unit last year.
I know, and I just remembered Chris Tierney on the power play. So
and Mete was slinging it around back there.
Yeah, because the answer was a scratch.
Fellas, we've come a very long way from those days. Now it's almost automatic when the Ottawa Senators get on the power play, and even though they've lost trigger men, playmakers, doesn't matter. It's next man up. And this just seems to be clicking. And don't look now, but Alex DeBrincat is back at a point per game. You've got the Ottawa Senators 1 win away from inching all the way back to 500. They are 13-14 and 1 or 2 right now. 13-14-2 on the season. 2? Yeah, New Jersey and Dallas beat them in overtime. That's impressive considering where they were at the start, or should I say at U.S. Thanksgiving. So credit to them. Pillsy, you've been patient. Who do you got for your first standout?
My first standout is going to be Alex DeBrincat. We talked about it. 3 assists and all nice assists, primary assists as well. Yeah, good call, Devin, for Dom Nicoletta getting back out there. That was a scary moment for him, and he's usually the guy helping out people with that incident, so that's tough.
So when that happened,
go ahead.
Real quick on Dom Nicoletta getting hit in the head there. I was listening to DJ Smith's comments on the way home, and he's like, athletic. I think Dom.
Just for the people who don't know who he is, he's the athletic therapist for the Sens.
Right. And he was obviously standing on the bench when that puck came in and hit him in the head. But and it did hit. I mean, anyone, you take a puck in the head, it's going to hurt. But he went running out of there. And I think we saw some blood. Like people in our section were
He
talking
was
about it.
leaking, Martian. Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Okay, so yeah,
Big time.
that's confirmed. DJ was like, I think Dom has been watching too much of the World Cup because he reacted like a soccer player on that one instead of a hockey player. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool from DJ. But sorry,
No, he didn't see it at all because it bounces off the glass and the assistant coaches duck. And then he's like, wait, why are we ducking? Oh, boom, right in the eye. So that's tough there. But going back to my Sens Central standout presented by the Glebe Central Pub, of course. Like this guy, 3 primary assists. I already mentioned it. 7 game point streak, 10 points during that time. And he just seems to find ways where he doesn't have to be scoring goals to be playing well. Like he found other ways to do it. He still had 5 shots tonight. He plays 9 minutes on the power play. Like DeBrincat has been such a good player for the Sens, even if it's not what we expected. So to see this guy humming and to have him and Batherson click, and I mean, throw Pinto in there too, that's so huge for this team's success coming up because without Timmy for a while here, you're not going to be able to rely on just leaning on Brady, Timmy, and Giroux here. You're going to have to find scoring other ways. And now they're kind of the top dog line because Derek Brassard, we love him, but he's not exactly getting it done like the other top 6 guys can. So for them to be hot is so huge.
So huge for this team. So credit to, and even though like still single digits in goals, like I feel like that's kind of the next stop for him. But at the same time, right now, you just want to see him producing. And like Brady gets what? The one fiber on his stick blade on that puck.
Yeah.
Like that's as good of as a DeBrincat goal as close to one as you're going to get without him counting it on the stat sheet. I was just doing some quick math because our friend, all of our friend, Dom Nicolette, I was reading that in the chat. Even I get bamboozled every once in a while. But our friend Seth Tupal was sending me over that Philly franchise is putting up some big numbers in mini. So I just wrote back. I was like, what a win-win. Like Cam Talbot is just holding down the fort here in Ottawa. So proper since November 24th, which obviously we are very hard on that date when we're looking at splits because it was when things turned around. That win in Anaheim against that brutal Ducks team 5-1. Cam Talbot has 6 wins, tied for most in the National Hockey League since that game. Tied with Connor Hellebuck, Tristan Jarry. That's it. Those are the players with 6 wins in that span. 923 save percentage. Like, we're getting good goaltending out of Cam Talbot. We're getting good offense out of Alex DeBrincat. Like, I'm almost pushing you in the direction to say Claude Giroux here, although he probably didn't have his best game. He kind of felt like he was fighting it a little bit tonight. 9 of his 20 minutes came on the power play, too. That's kind of strange for him. Hey, Marsh?
Yeah, I mean, basically 50% of his shifts, he was out there for the power play. It's kind of fun, right? But you know what? You say that, and I just didn't really notice him a whole ton tonight, which is odd for him. He was having a lot of conversations with the referees, which I appreciate, and I think that's pretty that's an intangible, I guess you can say, that he brings any given night. But yeah, maybe a bit of a quiet night for Claude, but he's able to do that. I know that they have injuries and they kind of need him right now, but I honestly, like he can take a night off because basically this is the first real game where we look at him and say like, oh, like where was Claude tonight? But I mean, I can't really
night in the face-off dot for Claude though, Martian, 3 for 10.
Yeah, that's right, not ideal.
Guess what? That's when you need someone else to pick up, and guess who did? It was Shane Pinto's night in the dot, 80%. He went 8 for 10 in the circle.
Yep, that's incredible for Pinner, and he had a really good game tonight too. I think that this is one of those ones where he's going to get up for it, knowing that he's now the number 1 center on the team as a rookie. So, you got to do it by committee, right? And where other guys kind of fall off a little bit, the other guys are going to pick it up. And it was a good team win, right? Talbot played great. The power play got it done. The penalty kill got it done. They killed 3 tough penalties. Like those power plays weren't easy to kill. It was just a great team effort, I thought, tonight. Team defense. And again, guys, Nikita Zaitsev.
Yep.
Right? Like I know we all ragged on him for so long, and it might have been a mental thing for him, some sort of mental issue or block, and the way he's been playing since he's been back from Belleville is actually what we need from him. And if he keeps playing like this, I'm not even too concerned about his future on this team if he continues the way he's been playing. I know it's still like we all have in our heads that he's a huge liability and we need to get him out of there kind of thing. But I don't feel that way as much anymore. The way he's been playing, and Hamonic as well, blocking shots and clearing pucks too. Those guys, I can appreciate some good D, and they're doing.
We're getting a lot of people in the chat bringing up the Sens game scorecard, which seems to be becoming more and more popular. I don't understand how to read it, but I understand from the sense that if you have more to the right, you're better. And if you have more to the left, you're making a negative impact on the game. And as you look at this and wonder kind of, does the eye test match the analytics? I want everyone to know that Montreal's card has Arbor Jacki as the least impactful player and actually having a negative impact on the game for the Montreal Canadiens. So a fan favorite because he's that close to being one once again in his career. Is we're still going to bat for our boy Angus Crookshank because we don't like the Jacki took him out for a year, and I'm going to hold a grudge on him till the day he either retires or the Sens somehow pick him up, and then I'll have to have a discussion with myself about how to move forward. But what are you looking from this? Is I'm assuming, and I'd like people in the chat to kind of correct me if I'm wrong, but I guess like Brady had a good and bad game. I'm just curious because all the other guys who have far to the left, they're not as far to the right. Whereas Brady, he's kind of carrying both sides of this. Does that mean he was just in the mix and everything? Like, do either of you guys know how to read that?
No, I'm kind of like you. Right side, good. Left side, bad. And,
it looks like there's a little bit of a key at the bottom here for us to be able to tell us like the impacts. The dark blue is obviously good. So if you're playing well defensively, then you get the dark blue on the right. And then if you're playing well offensively, you get kind of that more light blue or kind of like ocean blue color. I'm not sure what the really light blue means. I think that's just overall general impact in the game, maybe neutral zone play or something like that. But I'm actually kind of like looking at Lucchini, and Lucchini looks like he's kind of in a similar boat to Brady, where he's got impacts on both sides. But that defensive play looks like is pretty good for him, and then at the same time, the offensive play is not really there, which makes a whole lot of sense. It means he was just trying to be careful up there.
So,
but to answer your question, Ross, I don't know how to. Oh, miscellaneous production. Yeah, I don't know how to read this thing either, Ross. But I think you're
cool,
obviously right.
It looks super cool. Yeah, you know that you're not coming to Locked On Senators for exacts. You're coming here for vibes. You're coming here for entertainment. You're coming here for the passion that unites us all here as we rev up the red after a 3-2 victory for the Ottawa Senators over the Montreal Canadiens. Goggles. Pilsy and I talked about it before you got here. Alex DeBrincat has them right now. Martian, who are you handing the goggles to? Like, it's kind of a boring answer to go right back to Cam Talbot or Drake Batherson. Yeah. Both guys just had them recently, but I know you said you thought Cam Talbot's first start. We know that the goggles haven't been going necessarily to the first star of the game. No. It's been going to a guy who makes a big play, right? So
you taking those guys off the table for me?
No, do whoever you want. I can tell you that. Go ahead.
Well, and I think it's my gut tells me it's going to be Talbot because I think that he really held them in there in the third period, and I think that the boys are going to always appreciate a goaltender making huge saves in the third. So that's my answer. Yeah, Shane Pinto's leading the popular vote. We have 240 votes already. Shane Pinto, 40%. Cam Talbot, 33%. Drake Batherson, 18%. And Brady Tkachuk, 8%. Let's look at the darker side of the team here. They were a depth-heavy team tonight. I don't know if this is a hot take at all, but I think that, I don't know how long JBD is going to be out for, but like, Nick Holden, I don't know if he's an everyday guy anymore. And we're seeing that in the chat a little bit. I don't know if it's almost like a winning lineup. Let's not touch it for now, but that's something I have circled as a bit of a concern here. And Hamonic, I think, would just be perfectly suited in that 3 spot. I think he does enough good that he's worth being in the lineup, but you can't have him and Holden. And we used to say in Zaitsev, but he's not a problem anymore. Zaitsev seems to have leveled his game out, but now it's like either Holden or Hamonic, and Hamonic is a much more likely candidate, I think, to stay in the lineup.
Yeah, I think when JBD comes back, you swap JBD and Holden. Like Holden really, with his age and kind of his style of playing, I think you just have him as a seventh defenseman, and you can plug and play when you need him. And if Zaitsev's playing well, let him keep playing. And then we got 2 right shot defensemen banged up right now. So then Zub comes back in too, and you could even have a lot more flexibility after that. So I think the Ottawa Senators, now that things have stabilized and Thomas Chabot playing a lot better has been a big part of that decor stabilizing, things don't look as dire as they did earlier on, especially in that 7-game losing streak. Sheesh.
Yeah, that feels like forever ago. Imagine the whole season like continued down that path. It would be it would
I
be
thought
like
that's where things were going.
I would be doing the show like this.
I'll tell you what,
me,
if that was happening, I wouldn't have been at the game tonight if they were continuing to lose. I see the light, you know. I want to ride this with the boys.
You're hitting that believe sign, Martian.
It's the believe sign. I'm still on it. Yeah, no, it feels good. Like it's a fun time in there.
Up front, Molina, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is saying that Watson should be the first guy to come out. I'm all on board with that. Like he had his time here. I think he overperformed what some expectations were when he got here, but like he hadn't even played a game of his 3-year contract, and like they're on year 3 now, and it's kind of like, okay, like we've had the night, we've had dinner, we've had drinks, and we're sitting around, you know, you've got the food coma a little bit, and you're kind of wondering like, hey, when are my guests gonna like go home? And I think we're at that point where you don't want to ask Austin. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to ask him to leave because he's done so much, like to help build the culture and help mentor these kids. But I'm having trouble seeing how he keeps up with the rest of this season.
Yeah, has he ever been scratched before? As a Sen?
No, I think he.
No.
Never.
Maybe missed some time with injury. I don't think he's been a healthy scratch.
Yeah, probably not with DJ.
No, so like if not, I think it is about time. Maybe we just, but they are so banged up too at the same time. So I don't think he's necessarily the first person they're gonna think of to pull out. Like, I mean, who are they gonna replace him with right now? Once they get healthy, I think that might make more sense. But at this point right now, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't see it happening.
But I'm not disagreeing either with Molina by any means. I think that when they're healthy, he's the one who's maybe not bringing all the energy that he could be bringing right now.
Yeah. No, completely agree to that. Completely agree. As we roll in, why don't we go to the Postcast After Dark? Right, almost 48 minutes. I mean, this is. But we are, by the way, recording tomorrow's pod late, so it's going to be a later episode. So if you miss any of it, I'm saying it 48 minutes in. Probably should have said that at the start, but we got you covered. Locked On Senators coming probably like 4:00 like today, but we brought the energy today. And if you missed it because it came out late, that aged very well with our take on not getting into it with Jack Eye, converting on the power play when you get chance. Absolutely perfect, Pillsy. Credit to us. Hey, credit to us. All right. No, credit to everyone for listening. We appreciate you. We appreciate our friends, both at Bet Online and at the Glebe Central Pub. Make sure you check them out and tune in tomorrow on the Locked On Senators podcast. For all 269 of you, we're very pleased to have you in the chat, and we will be right back for some Postcast After Dark, where we will take your questions, comments, and concerns right here on the Locked On Senators Postcast. Let's listen to some victory music, and then we'll be right back after this. I think this is my best bit, just turning the background black for After Dark.
I love it. It looks good, actually.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks better now. We got the fellas here, and we're having a good time. Absolutely fired up after a 3-2 win for the Ottawa Senators that saw multi-point efforts for Alex DeBrincat, who had 3 assists in this game. For Drake Batherson, I believe. Did he have 2?
2. Goal and an assist.
Goal and an assist. Brady Tkachuk, goal and an assist. And Shane Pinto, a goal in this game. 2 shots, 3 hits for Shane Pinto. This game was pretty physical. Hits were 33-30 for the Ottawa Senators, but I felt like Montreal got the better of the physical matchup in that first period. Like, is this something where in the past Ottawa's kind of taken it to Montreal physically, and now they're trying to spend more time answering that rather than playing the offensive zone with puck possession?
Martian?
I don't know. Honestly, Montreal's a really fast team. I think you got to give them a little bit of credit there. They're our quick team, so like them getting to the Sens physically kind of makes sense. Like the Sens generally are more of a puck possession team, right? Don't you think?
Yeah, I would say. Well, I mean, when they're fully healthy, definitely they're much better at that aspect. But I just feel like the Sens have been starting slow lately. Like a bunch of their games have been slow starts, and I don't know what's up with that. Like, but they've been able to take it back and not have it cost them, fortunately. But the slow starts have been an issue here.
Yeah, they certainly have. Now, Graham asking, could someone send me a shawarma? Man, if it's not from Shawarma Palace, we don't want it. But if it is, fire me up. Now, I want to say this. Obviously, Ben is having a little tongue-in-cheek moment here, and Ben and I are going to have a beer, I think, next week. He's coming down for a little Jets Sens on a Tuesday.
Mr. Dover?
In the peg. Absolutely. But I know he's saying this kind of half-heartedly, half facetiously, but I haven't seen a guy get a penalty for skating like he thought he was a football running back like that in quite some time. There were a lot of plays where I'm questioning how Uri Slafkovsky is seeing the game. And he's young. It's a huge step for him playing in the NHL. He's a big body, still growing into it. I'm not here to I'm a big hyperbole guy at times, but I'm not here to say he's a bust or anything like that. But I don't know if the NHL is the best place for him right now.
Yeah, I would agree. And Ross, that could also be a TSN turning point of this game, because that goal led to the 3-0 goal. It's a 3-2 game. And that's just a boneheaded penalty. Like, you can't do that. And to do it in the spot that he did, the refs caught it. You're going to get called for that every single time. So that's one where he's going to have a tough time in the film room watching that one with the boys, and everyone's just like, what are you doing, man?
But what about that play? He had a clean rush and he just mishandled the puck too. Like, there were a few times where it was like stone hands out there kind of, and he's got the physical back. It's like 6'4", 240, or will be at his peak. I think he's like 220 right now. But like, there are some in other parts of his game that really need some work. Again, he's 18.
He is 18, and you have to preface everything you say with that, because we watched Tim Stützle at 18, and Tim Stützle at 18 is a way different player than he is now at 20, right? Yeah, but
big time.
The moment for me where I noticed him, maybe not being ready, in my opinion, was the moment he was standing in front of the Ottawa net, and Eric Brandstrom cleared him out of the front of the net. Like a couple little, cross-check kind of push-offs, and Uri wasn't having it. He turned around, he kind of looked at him like, what are you doing? And then Brandstrom gave him another, and he's out of there. And then the puck goes the other way, and it was a nothing thing. But he did have one very close deflection where the point shot came through and he was in the slot. And it didn't end up being a shot on goal. It might have been a hard one to catch on camera or on the TV broadcast, but he had one like really nice deflection where it was again Brandstrom who was right on him, and then he just like reached out and deflected, and it almost went in. So there's flashes of that skill. That is the reason that he was drafted first overall. I think we would be very dumb as Sens fans to now say that he's a bust or this and that. We know what I mean? Like he's 18 years old, right, guys? Like, it's fun to rip on the Habs, but I don't think that he's a nothing player. That's probably for sure. And there's guys in the league who have said they're going to fill the back of the Sens nets with pucks. Philip Zadina. Uri's not one of those yet. We don't want him to want to, because I think he's a much better player than Zadina is.
Yeah, and I wrote just for fun. I said this dude was the first overall pick, obviously just to get a rise. I mean, that's hockey. It's all about a little trash talk there, right? So I think that's fair play. I had people being like, you must feel like a man commenting on an 18-year-old like that. I mean, hey, that's my line when I chirp Wheeler and those guys. Come on. No, but in all seriousness, clearly it's just a little banter in the I like Softkovsky as well, as he was kind of bullied around out there tonight. All right, we got some rapid fire questions here I want to get to, and these two I want to kind of combine. Joe Bell, our guy, what's your guys' PP lineup, knowing what we know now, if everybody's healthy? Can I say everyone's healthy, Joe? Because I know you mentioned Norris and Timmy. I mean, Joseph's seen some power play time this year. Mott was on the second unit to start the year. But Pilsy, let's just do our first unit right now. Who's on that first unit if everybody's healthy?
I think you keep the first unit you had, right? So correct me if I'm wrong. Shabbat, I guess Norris throws wrench in there, but I would go Shabbat, Timmy, Brady, Drake.
Basically, Giroux or Norris.
Did you say DeBrincat?
No, I'm putting Norris on that one. I like Pinto, DeBrincat, and Giroux all together, so I would put them on the second unit with
Can you imagine that second unit?
That's what it was for 5 games.
I know, that's a great second unit, though, right?
Right? Yeah, it's insane. We got an embarrassment of riches here, Martian. It's awesome. And then I don't know, maybe you put Joseph on there to try to get him going, I guess, on that second unit. So that's how I would do it.
You wouldn't even question. Go ahead.
Because there's no wrong answer. It's a trick question because there's really no wrong answer there. You know the 12 or the 10 guys we're all thinking of. Any combination of those guys pretty much is.
I guess the one question though is, would you be willing to go 2 defensemen on the second unit, have Brandstrom and Sanderson out there?
Yeah, sure.
Brandstrom, Sanderson on the back end, then Giroux, DeBrincat, and Pinto up front.
Yeah, I love that.
I think that's perfect. Both those guys are really good facilitators. It's not like they're not puck moving defensemen. You know what I mean? So yeah,
absolutely. Is probably wondering when we're going to ask if his boy Parker Kelly, his homeboy Parker Kelly, is going to make the power play. But he does ask, is it unreasonable for the power play to finish above 30% this season? I don't know. That's super high. I mean, at the course of a long season, you're going to go through slumps. But here we are talking about the power play clicking at 35% over a stretch where they're missing offensive weapons. So what could it become? I think that the sky's the limit. But what will it realistically become? I don't know. 30 is a pretty high bar. I'll hedge and say 27, which, I mean, that's a 10-point improvement from what we've seen over the last number of years. I think 27 is a fair number. If it's over 30, they're going to put themselves in a good position to make a push here. We're not saying the P word, but make a push towards being a competitive team for the rest of the year.
Ross, especially if they can combine that with the great penalty killing they've had. I went through the last couple games. I've got it here. So versus the Habs, the PK goes 3 for 3. Versus the Ducks, 3 for 3. Preds, 4 for 4. Stars, 2 for 2. The penalty kill kills off all 12 penalties in the last 4 games. That's massive. Because what's been the story with this Ottawa Senators in the past? It's power plays clicking, PK is down, and then if it flips, it flips. You got the PK is good and the power play sucks. But to have both clicking at this rate, this is why we're looking at a 3-game win streak here, and this is why we're looking at 7-2-1 in their last 10. It's massive.
Yeah, and the other thing about that too, Pilsy, is the volume of penalty kills that they're having to deal with. It's less. The team has historically been pretty poorly disciplined, and since they've been losing these, top players, I think that they've become a little more responsible with that because they know that one power play could really screw them. So I think that it's been a good evolution of the team in that way too, for sure. With they're 7 versus 3 power plays tonight, 7 versus 4. So
Montreal scored with the empty net, as they were having the delayed penalty.
Yeah, that's a really That's a really good ratio though, right? You want to be the ones who are spending more time on the power play than the other team. You don't want to be killing penalties for too often. They've had periods where they've spent half the period in the penalty box this season, even early in the year, right? Last time I looked, they were 5th in the league in most penalties taken.
Yeah, and Montreal's 3rd. They were both 2. They had that stat on the broadcast, and I know you're at the game. You wouldn't have seen it, but yeah.
Is that what they said at the game?
Yeah.
Are they still 5th?
Oh, I don't know. Well, Montreal took 14 penalty minutes in this game, 7 minor penalties. So, I mean, they certainly didn't help themselves out. Cam Harper mentioning, why is it so easy to knock Chartier over? I don't know. I haven't noticed that. We've only seen him for 15 minutes. I mean, in Belleville, I don't know. It doesn't stand out to me. I'll keep an eye. If he's back in Belleville, he'll probably still be in Ottawa. But If he's here in Manitoba on the weekend, I'll take a peek. If not, I'll see him Tuesday as we get a little Sensmas for me in Manitoba here leading up to it with Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday. All right. I like this question here from Steve. Steve, we appreciate you always being a citizen out there. Watson, Kelly, Holden, Hamonic, Kelly. Oh, we got Kelly twice. And Talbot. Let us know, or I'm way back in the chat, so I won't see if you said. We'll go Talbot, Hamonic, Holden, Kelly, Watson. Who of those of that group, how many will be back next season?
I got 2.
Well,
Kelly
Talbot and
Talbot?
Hamonic are Talbot and Hamonic are under contract, right?
Oh, Hamonic says last year.
And Talbot also.
Holden is though. Yeah,
nope.
I'm gonna
Holden's
say
done this year too.
No.
Oh, I'm gonna say 3.
Are you sure? Are you sure you know the contracts here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I for some reason I thought Holden was on a 2-year thing.
Oh, good man. Okay. So who are your 3? Let's hear them.
Well, I was gonna say Talbot, Hamonic, and Kelly are probably the 3 that I see coming back.
Kelly signed. Kelly's the only one of these guys that has a 1-year contract after.
And that's when his one-way kicks in, right?
Yep. Yeah. Well, I mean, he already needs waivers, so I don't think they'd risk losing him on that. But I don't know.
What about you guys?
I got Kelly because he's coming back, and I think DJ likes him, and he's a younger player too. And I think the Sens would be foolish to let Cam Talbot go here. Like, even if they have to overpay him on a 1 or 2 year deal, I think you do it because he's been so good here. And if you have the tandem of Talbot and Forsberg, I think you can ride that for next year and maybe even 1 more year after that. So I'm keeping Talbot for sure.
Interesting. Kevin, our boy, Jimena, asks, who do you guys think? Let's go rapid fire around the horn here. Who is the next person you would induct into the ring?
Ross is itching for this one. Kevin, you teed him up.
You've been on this for like 2 days now, Ross.
He's been itching on it, yeah.
The tweet got 120 replies.
It's
sweet. A hot button topic. It gets the people going. And you and I both listened to Chris Neal on Cam and Strict. What he said about Danny Heatley was very eye-opening about how he was just one of the dudes. How about the story? Tell him the story about what Heatley would have for breakfast.
Heatley apparently would sit in the hot tub or the cold tub first thing in the morning and drink a Monster energy drink or some sort of Rockstar energy drink, and then he would call it full throttle, and he would say, "Breakfast of champions, boys."
I love that. I mean, that's basically my breakfast. Energy drink and some Pop-Tarts. Let's go.
I'm 3 coffees for breakfast.
On that topic, the Redden tribute videos, a bunch of former players were on those. Heatley sent in a video. Did you guys happen to be able to?
We didn't see the video, but Kevin Lee took a photo. I wish the Sens maybe will reach out to their content, be like, "Hey, you have it? Like, just put it out." I would love to watch it because you said Andre Waugh was hilarious too.
Oh yeah, Andre Waugh was like in his underwear and imitating people's girlfriends and stuff. It was hilarious. He's out of control. That guy. Yeah.
He's wild.
Okay, hammer it around because I don't think I'm going Danny Heatley. I think he deserves to be in there, but I don't think he's the next guy in the Ring of Honor.
No, it's Spezza, I think. Yeah. But also not right now, probably because he's working for the Leafs.
Exactly.
He just retired. I don't know if it's necessarily the next one that they do. It's maybe Lily.
It should be.
Maybe.
No, it should be Jacques Martin.
Oh, yeah.
I like that one.
I like that.
Yeah. Sure.
Because he's the guy who brought them
players in there, though. It's all GMs and coaches right now so far, right? Well, it's Brian Murray and
Redden and Murray.
Yeah. So you think they go coach next and then player next time?
I think there's going to be multiple, like based on what Bruce Garriock told us. I think there's going to be a few more being honored this year with the whole 30th anniversary.
I think the guys that should be in there are Jason Spezza and Craig Anderson, but Craig's still playing. Jason Spezza, he just finished with the Leafs. He's working with them now. Heatley, I would put in there too. And I love the Ray Emery to the Ring of Honor. I think that would be good.
You got a lot of pushback on that one, Rob.
What?
You got pushback on the Ray Emery one, right?
I don't think Ray Emery should be in the Ring of Honor.
Oh, maybe I saw it somewhere. Okay, maybe I saw it somewhere else. Somebody else said maybe that he should be in the Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think necessarily he should either.
He's my favorite goalie all time, but he's a starter for 1 year.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
the long term just wasn't there. He had moments. He could be in a moment of honor. How about a statue of him pounding Martin Biron on top of him? Like, that's all time, right?
Yeah.
But all in all, there's a lot of good options. Like, the question is, where do you draw the line, right? Like, there's a lot of good, like, there's a few names.
It's the Ring of Honor. It's not like you're retiring the number. It's like you're recognizing the history of the team. That's something every team does.
What if instead, because it's such a hot button issue, like, do you put Danny Heatley and do you put Jason Spetz in? What if they just put the pizza line in as a whole?
Yeah, as like a one unit, like put a little mural up for that line as a part of the Ring of Honor.
They accomplished, because they were absolutely incredible.
Alfie's already retired, though. I don't know. I feel like that kind of makes it a corny thing. But
Graham wants quick World Junior predictions. I'm assuming Martian's going to go with if Tyler Boucher makes Team USA.
Well, I mean, if Tyler Boucher's on Team USA, which I really hope he is. Apparently, he's had 2 really good days that he feels nice about. He feels good about. I know you guys saw the comments as well that he made. I think that those were very mature comments that he made about his, how he needs to handle himself in this tournament to not be a detriment to the team, but his physical play, he can tone it down. I think that was great. Him saying that. Yeah, if he makes the US team, I think they already had a really skilled team in the last one, and they kind of they basically shit the bed, right?
Yeah.
And so, right? What?
No, I said it'll be interesting. But you think
if he makes that team, he's gonna change the elements of that team, right? Like he's gonna bring a lot more physicality than they had before, and I think, it'd be great. I'm definitely gonna be zoned into the US if he makes that team. Like he's obviously my prospect right now. I've got my own thoughts on the line, basically, with him. So, but no, I'm a believer for sure in the player and the kid, and the amount of adversity he's already faced at this young stage of his career. Can you think of another young prospect at this stage who's had this much criticism? Well, definitely not with the Sens, but even in the league, without being a total like an idiot, right? Some kid who's done something in the past that's like, completely something that you wouldn't want to do, like these, all these sexual assault cases and things like that some of these kids have already been, accused of and have done. He hasn't even come close to doing anything like that. But meanwhile, he's got this reputation that he's, dirty or whatever it is. And I don't think that's the case at all. I think he's getting a bad rap, and I think he deserves a lot better than he's getting. And making this World Junior team will go a long way for him and his development and how he feels.
Yeah. So you got Team USA and Tyler Boucher there. Martian, Canada. I want to get to this question here. And the chat, I'm so far behind that it's like leaving. That's why I'm trying to hurry up and get down here. The Dak empty net or unsportsmanlike was hilarious because he was chirping the official when he got his first penalty. And then when he got his second penalty, he chirped him again and then slammed the door. So I think that's why they gave it.
No discipline.
Wow, I just had to scroll down so far. Hey, Eric, pre-shocker. Eric, are you serious? DeBrincat gave the goggles to Jake Lucchini. Billsy, your guy.
Jake Lucchini, you gotta love that. And we love you, Eric. Thanks for the nice donation there. And yeah, this is what we talked about when we're all being like, who got the most points? Who had a shutout? Who did this? No, it's all about vibes. The goggles are about vibes. And Jake Lucchini, he gets a nice little pay raise from his $130,000 AHL salary up to $750 in the NHL. So maybe he'll celebrate with the spray tan. He's got to look good here. So I love that goggle choice.
Okay, I'm going to pull up a photo and everyone's going to see what he looks like for the first time.
Yeah, unless they saw his media availability today, which was pretty good.
Or if you're from Trail, BC, they all love each other there.
Or if you go to the Belleville Walmart, you might see him there.
What a beauty. Look at Hammer in the background living.
Oh, I need to know.
I'd love to get those goggles once.
I need to know what he says.
I love it, man.
He looks like he's giving a speech in this photo.
No,
that's great.
So good. Yeah, I am about the groups tonight. Hot lunch. I did. I said group power play for a standout and a group pizza banner for the Ring of Honor. That's hilarious. Let's get some final thoughts. We appreciate everyone. I mean, 110. We got to save some for tomorrow's Locked On Senators, which we will absolutely get to. The Senators have a busy weekend ahead. We got lots to get into, including we got Dr. Bob. This guy's been driving a ridiculous amount of Sens games. He's going to 60 games this year, Martian. Some at home, but he's going to 60 total games, not flying once. So he drove to San Jose, to LA, to Anaheim, drove all the way back to Ottawa, only to drive back to Dallas for the game there. Like, he is putting I need to ask how many
legendary
kilometers.
He must have an RV. Does he have is he driving around an RV? Like, or is he in his car?
Tune into Friday's episode of the Locked On Senators podcast to find out, Martian.
Yeah, Kara's mentioning, he's been calling into Creature on 1200 a bunch. So, we reached out to him. He looks like an absolute legend. He's got the classic foam Centurion helmet. So, we're stoked. We got to get him on and figure out what's going on. Oh, JR, thank you. We got to announce.
Forgot.
We would forget. That would be something that we would do.
This is why you stick around for the After Dark.
Exactly. You stick around for the After Dark. Okay, so Instagram contest picker. So this is here. You know what? I'm going to share my screen just so that we all know there's no funny business here going on.
We don't fool around here.
On Senators Postcast. No,
especially not, Ross, when the prize is a Christmas dinner for 4 people worth over $100. You cannot mess around here. Put in the chat, guys. Let's get some votes going. You can choose between ham or turkey. I'm going turkey personally. Where are we at in the chat? Ham or turkey Christmas dinner?
What would you pick, Martian?
I'm a turkey guy too, 100% Pilsy.
Yeah, you got to go for the turkey.
I've never really been a big ham guy.
I mean, I like ham, but that's not like, that's not a celebration dinner or anything big, right? Mm-hmm. So
how do I do this? I don't think I can do this here.
What do you mean?
Maybe I have to look. It's not letting me select the Instagram post. Back to the drawing board because we used Twitter
last time.
Oh, here we go. Boom.
There you go.
Here we go. Oh boy.
I just have a feeling I know who it's going to be.
It takes a while, probably. There you go.
So number of minimum mentions 2.
Oh, nice. This is sweet.
1. So there's 41 people. I'm surprised it's that low, honestly. It's a pretty unbelievable thing. So
good odds.
We got some ham. We got some turkey.
Turkey didn't enter. If I did, I'd have 1 in 42 odds. Maybe it's not too late.
Yeah, like these odds are pretty good. Okay, is everyone ready for a spin? And how good does it feel to be spinning for Christmas dinner rather than the tank?
So much better.
Way
this
better.
Is amazing. All right, ready? Find winners.
Let's go.
Oh, here it is.
Come
Here are the winners. Dad Life Robo 85. 2 young daughters we see here in the photo. That's perfect because it's a dinner for 4. Awesome to see that. Dad Life Robo, we are going to reach out to you and make sure that you get that Christmas dinner for 4 from our friends at Farm to Fork. That is awesome. Yeah. I mean, that's just awesome. I love to see it. I'm laughing at all the people booing turkey. Like, people, these are hot takes. JS, is that you? Did we say Jess? Dad Life Robo? Is that you? We got the woohoo there. I mean, that just gets me so fired up. Remember when Calvin was in the chat and he's like, my girlfriend got me that.
Yeah, that was so awesome.
Yeah. So we absolutely, Calvin and Riley got that one. No, JS, maybe next time. But it is great that our friends at Farm to Fork are going to make sure that we're taken care of all year long. We love Farm to Fork. We absolutely love our friends at Glebe Central Pub. Shawarma Palace, the local sponsors, is what really helps build this community and make it feel like it's Ottawa born. Like, I'm in Winnipeg, Pilsy's in Collingwood. It's all Ottawa, though, all the time for the fellas. And that's
you got Martian with an ear on the streets, though. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah, we got our ears to the streets. Martian, final thoughts, man.
I'm glad they were able to hang on and get the W there. I think that was an important win. I think they've got a few important games coming up here with a couple afternoon games in Detroit a couple times in the schedule in the near future. So I think those are important divisional wins. They need to keep doing that if they're going to be able to hang in there.
Pilsy, your friend Magnus Hellberg. Thank God I don't have to say that every day anymore. He helped out the Ottawa Senators tonight, losing in regulation. The Detroit Red Wings lose in regulation, Pilsy. That's a good sign. The Senators are now only 4 points back, which means that if they beat the Detroit Red Wings in all three of their matchups, which is a lot to ask, I understand that, all of a sudden, they pass them in the standings.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you start putting these win streaks together and you're beating teams like the Habs, you're beating teams you're supposed to beat like the Ducks, things are looking a lot better here. I'm still not saying the P word. I'm not there yet, and let's not get too crazy here. Martian's going to say it probably, but it's looking good. And if they can do this without all those key guys in the lineup, wait till they get all those free agent acquisitions like we often talk about with injuries coming back.
Oh, right, the free trade deadline acquisition, all that. Yeah. Let's get some Go Sens go in the chat. Let's get some Go Sens go on a high note. We absolutely appreciate everyone for getting. I think I said absolutely 3 times there.
Oh, Martian's about to unleash a hot take. We got to let him go here.
No, I just think Pilsy, you were this close to hitting the believe sign, buddy. You were right there with me. You were almost going to hit the believe sign there. But I was going to say that
I'm looking at it and I'm smiling when everybody else taps it, but I'm not tapping it yet.
It's a lot better than the panic button. It's a lot more fun to hit that one. But I was going to say, people have really been like hot on Detroit. I feel like the media, they're like a bit of a media darling, right? With like Stevie Y running the team. People really want them to be successful. Original 6 team. It's just like people are really overdoing it, I feel like, with them. I don't think going into the season that anyone was expecting them to be as in it as they are right now either.
No.
So.
Well, the Ottawa Senators win 3-2 over the Montreal Canadiens. The win streak has reached 3, and in the words of Alex DeBrincat, that is a streak.
Woo!
The Montreal Canadiens are losers in regulation. They're losers all the time. They have to be themselves. So you're a Sens fan. It's all gravy. We'll see you tomorrow in the Locked On Senators podcast. I say gravy as we give away a Christmas dinner. So we'll reach out to the winner there. Thank you as well for JS for reminding us to do that. Let's get some Go Sens goes in the chat, as I did do some great copy and pasting right there as well. So Go Sens go for Brandon Pillar and at Leems Martian. I'm Ross Levitan, and this has been the Postcast After Dark, presented by the Locked On Senators podcast.